anatomy of the heart using this very large model, but it's applicable to any models that you would be looking at. So we're going to start with the outside of the heart, and then on the end, we'll take this cap off and we'll work the inside of it. First, most important rule of thumb when identifying structures, you have to remember the side switch. Now, you know, if I tell you to raise your right hand, you'd know exactly which hand to raise. Well, when looking at the model, it's the opposite. Therefore, this area right here is the right side of the heart. No, I'm not mistaken. No, I'm not misspeaking. This is the right side of the heart. Therefore, this is the left side of the heart. Okay, so once we've got that concept into play, we're gonna go into the different moves. So this yellow right here, there's a dip, a natural dip in the heart. That dip in the heart is called sulcus. Remember when you talked about brain, those little dips were sulci or sulcus? Well, this is a sulcus, and it's named in two ways. From top all the way to bottom in the span of my hand is going to be the atrioventricular sulcus, because it crosses the atria and it crosses the ventricles. So this whole thing is the atrioventricular sulcus. If I put a sticker on or label just the second half, that is going to be the interventricular sulcus. Atrioventricular sulcus, whole thing. Interventricular sulcus. So let's talk about the blood vessels found on the surface that you are responsible for. See this big blue one? That's the great cardiac vein. This red one in the same area is going to be the anterior interventricular artery. Anterior interventricular artery. This portion right here where it's labeled number 34. So great cardiac vein, anterior interventricular artery. There's only two other blood vessels I need you to know. We see this blue one that's going around right here. That is called the circumflex. It's an artery, even though it's blue. Circumflex artery, it goes in a circular pattern. Circumflex artery. Then on the opposite side, doing the same thing as this red one right here, that is the right coronary artery. On these models, red and blue doesn't mean a thing. Don't count on that, just use it for location. So again, great cardiac vein, anterior interventricular artery, circumflex artery, and right coronary artery. Okay? The tip of the heart is known as the apex. And you have these like ear-like projections. In real life, if you were to look at a true dissected heart, these look like elephant ears. They're called auricles. They're actually made up of atrial tissue, and they add as far as protection. Again, remember we're switching sides. So this is the right auricle, and this is the left auricle. Right auricle, left auricle. Now let's look at the blood vessels on the surface. This right here is the superior vena cava. I'm going to go all the way around. You have to have an inferior. The inferior is coming way down here. Okay, so this right here is the aortic arch of the aorta. Arch means it's a curve. And then there's three branches, 1, 2, 3 coming off of the aorta. This is brachiocephalic. This is common carotid. And this is subclavian. Brachiocephalic, common carotid, subclavian, BCS. The last things you're going to see is this right here is the left pulmonary artery. left. Remember, switching sides. If I look on the back side, you can see the right. Left pulmonary artery. These right here are the pulmonary veins. You have two on each side. These are the left pulmonary veins. And if I go to the other side, these right here are the right pulmonary veins. Okay, so we're good on the outside. Superior vena cava, brachiocephalic, common carotid, subclavian, aortic arch of the aorta, left pulmonary artery, left pulmonary veins, and the same are true on the other side. Okay, so let's look on the inside to see exactly what's there. So I just have another model that's already open. Okay, so we have chambers or spaces within the heart. So we can see both. There are two valves that lead into the superior vena. There's two valves that lead into the aorta and the left pulmonary artery. I'm going to look. These are called semilunar valves. There's only two. The red one is the one that goes into the aorta, so that is called the aortic semilunar valve. You can see its characteristics of these three cusp-like structures. This one, the blue one, is going into the left pulmonary artery and right pulmonary artery. This is going to be the pulmonary semilunar valve. Aortic semilunar, pulmonary semilunar. Okay? So there's these chambers inside the heart. Chambers are areas where blood can congregate, and you have two atria and two ventricles, and they are separated by these valves, which is this upper portion right here, upper portion right here. Okay, so the valve on the right side is going to be the tricuspid valve. So way up here is a tricuspid valve. The valve on the left side is going to be the bicuspid valve. It's also known as the mitral valve. All right, so let's start with atria. So if I go here, this top spaces are atria. You have your right atria and your left atria. Again, right, left. Go down, tricuspid valve, right ventricle. Left atria, bicuspid or mitral valve, left ventricle. It's easy to tell which is right and left. In any case, even if I were to just give you one and figure it out, the left ventricle is significantly larger than the right ventricle because this is what pumps systemic circulation, or it pushes blood all over the body. The right side doesn't need as much force because it's just sending blood to the lungs. Okay? This right here, this chunk of meat, if you will, is a septum. And it's a septum that separates the ventricles. That is called the interventricular septum. Okay? These things coming off of the ventricles, coming off of the valves, those are called chordae tendineae, cords made of tendon, chordae tendineae, and they attach to papillary muscles.